Getting good at melodies can really help your producer career. It's done a lot for me, from getting placements on TV networks like CBS to selling beats and getting hella views on YouTube. So today I want to debunk 5 myths that have kept me from making progress with melody making. Maybe they're things you suffered with. Hopefully this helps you out. Check out the link below to grab my free 14 drum kit. Join my email list where I send gems and loops weekly. Let's get into the video. Number 1, you need music theory. 100% myth. And I know that sounds crazy coming from me, but something I've observed in my journey is that you really only need to learn like 3 to 5 chord progressions and then practice using those over and over again. And then over time, while you're doing that, you kind of just learn the music theory. So if you want to learn the practice system that I use to actually find the chord progressions that I like and then get good at using them, check out these 2 videos appearing on the screen right now. In this video, I want to demonstrate to you very quickly how easy it is to make a good melody with just a few chords. So let's just head in here and we'll lay down that classic C minor chord progression. Maybe make it a little bit slower. Actually, let's go for something like 121. Simple. And this isn't going to be the melody. This is just going to be an outline for what I end up doing. We can voice those chords by just taking those top notes of the chord progression and bringing them down an octave. And we can start to pitch this up. Cool. So then what we're going to do is we're going to copy that, paste it into the sampler so that it's not making any noise. We're going to delete this progression. Now we have a nice ghost outline, and then we're just going to make a basic melody that we can paste over to a VST in the next step. Cool. Then we can add some basic ass bass notes. Number 2, you need expensive VSTs. 110% myth. I actually have a placement on CBS where the entire melody was made with stock plugins in FL Studio. Point being, you can do a lot with free and stock VSTs, and I'm sure you know that, especially if you're a viewer on my channel. Another important point is that it's not my goal to disparage expensive VSTs, especially since I do use a lot of expensive VSTs. It's only to make the point that you don't actually need them, and that's just based on my own experience. A lot of my placements actually do come from just using shit that's stock in my DAW. Again, not to make a point, just because I like using it. So let's get in here and build out this melody using mostly free and stock VSTs. I might use a couple of paid things here and there, but the bulk, the meat of the sandwich is going to be free and stock VSTs. I'll try to make notes of everything I'm using as I go. Prismic has some really cool pads, only 4 presets, but they're all 4 bangers. That's in the free pack. Decent Sampler has paid stuff, but it has so much good free stuff. Maybe we could switch the patch. Let's see. Cool. Let's bring that into the mixer. All of these mixer presets can be found in the centerfold drum kit, and there are stock plugin equivalents for every preset that comes with something using like Neutron or Ozone or something like that. It's good stuff. For example, that's the TR5. And if you want to hear the TR5 comparison from the centerfold drum kit, that's good stuff. I might just use that. All right, cool. All right, cool. And then there were some top accent notes that I want to add to this melody as well. So let's see if we can come back to Decent Sampler and add something else here. Maybe we can go back to interlaced. cool. And then we can open up yet another decent sampler, and we can go to this real piano, load that up, turn down some of these macros that I know are a little bit crazy. Nah, there we go. Hey. And we're going to open up another decent sampler, yo. All right, let's see. Let's go to Volitions this time. Oh no, that's for the next step. That's actually for the next step. So I'm gonna actually just add a bass and then we're gonna add the violin. Hold up, I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, I could be here all day. Let's move on. Myth number 3. You need to make a lot of styles of melodies in order to be good, be relevant, get placements. To be honest, all you need to do is play your part and then get good at playing that part. That's the most important thing. Of course, you still need to practice other styles and study the space in general so that your sound doesn't get stale or boring, so that things stay up to date, you know? They're loud as fuck out there. So the whole point is that it's okay to get inspired by people and to even just outright copy them in order to learn, but you should be careful to not try to just sound like someone because you think that's what everybody wants from you. The most important thing you can do is get good at your style, nail it consistently, because that's what people are gonna come to you for. Like for example, me, I like doing dark trap stuff and then kind of like psychedelic experimental stuff that borders into R&B sometimes. I've tried to fight that in the past, but honestly, when I stick to that, I get the best results, I get placements, money come to me, I smile. And I've noticed that a lot of other good producers are pretty similar. The thesis statement, you definitely want to be well practiced with various styles, but you want to have like 1 or 2 that you are very good at. That being said, let's get back into this melody so that I can add the finishing touches on this very dark vibe. That's actually fucking cap. First, we need to cover myth number 4 before I can get back into making the melody. You'll see why in a second. So number 4 is the idea that you need to make counter melodies. Now, in my honest opinion, I do not recommend ever making a counter melody unless you truly know what you're doing, because more often than not, they're going to make your melody sound worse than if you had just left it alone entirely. That's my experience. That's the experience of people I try to teach. That's the experience of people that I observe. Something better to aim for is harmony. And this is just like collecting sounds and grouping them together so that they complement and mesh well together with the melody that you're already making, kind of like building upon the chord progression a little. It's a little wonky, but fucking whatever, right? There's a bunch of different ways you can do that. You can do top lines, which we did a little bit about, and we'll talk about that in a second when we get back into the DAW. You can add accents, which is another thing that we can do, and we'll do that as well when we get back into the DAW. And mixing can be very helpful for this as well. So let's get into it. So getting right into it, we've already done a bit of a top line, which I made when we first built out this melody in FL Keys, but this bell right here is a top line melody. It's just a top line melody, and it's just notes that are already in the chord progression. It's nothing special. It's meant to just be like an ear candy that makes the melody sound more interesting. Some people call it counter melody. Some people would do a bunch of extra shit trying to like make this complex counter melody. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it at all. I get the best results with very clear, concise, purposeful things like this. So we could make another kind of like top line or harmony by coming back into this violin, which I was getting excited at first and got ahead of myself in the last step. But now we can finally build out this melody. And we're just gonna follow the chord progression. It's literally following the notes in the melody. Toss on some Origin. Origin is free, by the way. Shout out to whoever told me in the comments. You can also add accents. I covered how to make your own accents in these 2 videos that are appearing on the screen now. They'll also be linked below. And I've been compiling them into a loop kit that I will be dropping later this month, but I will be sending freebies from that here and there. So definitely grab the 14 drum kit so that you can join my email list and get all of that good sauce. Let's see. So we can bring that in. Just some nice ear candy. It doesn't have to be like a bunch of crazy melodies going on and stuff. Just nice things that make sense. Doesn't make it sound better. You can add it, but that's the thing that makes melodies worse, is when you keep trying to add stuff, trying to make it sound better. It's the really good sample makers are just super good at executing on the basics. Like, you can't run from that. The number one thing I would say for why someone's melodies are bad, besides all of these myths that we're covering, is definitely just that you're probably not practicing enough. And I can definitely say that from experience. Now, I've already done a shit ton of mixing, but I just want to show you how knowing how to mix can give you the ability to make more interesting melodies. So maybe if I could demonstrate a couple of things here really quickly. Something I used to do is I would just add like a pad or something to fill up the spectral space, but you can use reverb and delay and effects to fill up your spectral space better. So what I'll do is I'll just add a convolver send. So all it's doing is just duplicating the full signal of my melody bus and then adding a reverbed or convolved signal to it. And then that reverb fills up that space instead of me having to add a pad. And you can hear that tail. Whereas we turn that off and it's gone. Good stuff. Another way we could do this is we could create another send from this bell, right? And we could just do something interesting. Like here we could open up a gross beat. And let's open up this. This is the very, very simple demonstration of what Portal's actually doing. It's much more complex. It's like if you took 17 million patchers and linked it with a bunch of gross beats and half times and a bunch of other shit like reverb and delay. That's basically what Portal will be doing. But if you don't have Portal, it's like kind of a neat little way that you can do a bunch of cool stuff. Just create a send, add some kind of pitch or time manipulation effect to that send, add some reverb, add some delay, make it sound spicy, blah, 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 blah. All right, cool. So let's add some origin to that. Good. Sounding fire. And for myth number 5, it is difficult to get good at making melodies. That is dependent on your perspective, right? If you don't, let me not say if you don't want to work hard, because I don't want to sound like a self-improvement bro. If your perspective is that working towards something is not worth whatever you're working towards, then yes, it is difficult. And right, it falls back to that cliche of anything worth working for is, or anything worth having is worth working for, blah, 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 blah. But cliches are cliches for a reason. And I think it's a very worthwhile thing to work towards becoming a better loop maker, a better sample maker. There's just so much opportunity for music producers in general, but especially if you can spec into making like a specific style of melodies, get good at making melodies in general. It's just gonna give you a bigger opportunity, work with people, be more valuable to the community, all that good stuff. You just have to practice. You will get good at whatever you practice, right? For example, I've been practicing melodies since I started making beats. And I've gotten my melodies placed on networks like CBS with a show called East New York, super fire. It was a dope opportunity. I also have a bunch of beats on this channel which got tons of views just from me making the melody from scratch, like this one that you're probably seeing on the screen now. And the cool thing is that I actually made that melody and the entire beat on this channel in a video where I demonstrated a very in-depth look at how I make melodies, the entire theory, if you will. So if that's something you're interested in, check out this video appearing on the screen right now, and I'll see you there. Peace.